Hi, Aries. This is Genevieve with Belladonna Moonbeams. How are y'all doing? This is the reading for the week of May 24th through May 30th, 2021. And I think it's going to be a good week overall. I do want to share something that happened to me this past week. Somebody said mean, unfair, wrong things about me, scattered with a little bit of truth. So they're half truths, and some out and out lies. But the biggest thing was that makes me so frustrated. It was their failure to accept their responsibility. And I got to tell y'all, when people don't accept the responsibility for their actions, and they blame others for the results of their actions, that is just wrong. And so if you do that, you're doing something really wrong. And I'm going to share this with everybody because I think that was the part. This person tried to throw all kinds of shade on me rather than accept what they were doing wrong. And that just, it hurt me because I thought this person was somewhat of a friend, but apparently they're not. But it also just showed me that when I see this type of behavior in people, I need to back off to begin with. And I guess that's what I've seen, that person throw shade on everybody else, but I always thought maybe there was truth to it. Now I don't believe anything this person has ever told me. They had just shot themselves in the foot with me and a whole bunch of other people. And that's where the problem really comes in. They hurt themselves more than if they had just said, I screwed up. If they had just acknowledged their problems, they would have been fine. But instead, they threw shade on everybody but themselves forever. It's not fair. It's not fair. Life isn't fair. A lot of things aren't fair. Anyway, I just had to vent. So I hope you don't mind me venting. So the first card I get for y'all is death. Death is not literal death. It's change. This card is standing straight up. It is not reversed. You have got some change taking place. It's going to be a big one. And it's going to, I think, be this week. Or it's going to feel like a big one. Because sometimes things happen and we don't realize how, they seem bigger than they are. And then when we look back on it in 5 years, we're like, really? I was so upset over that for what? But right now, something's going to happen in your life this week that's going to bring about a change, and it's going to seem big to you. You're being told, you've got the King of Swords next to it. And I believe this card is telling you, don't deal from a place of emotion. Deal from a place of intellectual understanding of what's going on. Because sometimes when we deal from something from emotion, we don't see the bigger picture. Because for me, like what happened to me this last week, it just drove home to me why I'm changing professions. Because in this profession, in opening a store, or those things will never affect me or hurt me. I wouldn't have even met this person. And I would not have allowed this person in my life if it hadn't been for my job. So I think that just drove home to me why I have to leave it and why not look back. It's just way too easy. Also, we get the Justice card. And I think in this case, because it's right next to the death, this is saying you need to find your balance and your equilibrium in this. There's a yin and a yang to everything, karma, dharma, things like that. And this is saying that not only do you need to deal with this change unemotionally and from up here in your head, you need to deal with it by finding balance. So look at it. Why did I have this lesson? What am I gaining from this lesson? Look at it that way, not from, oh, why is this happening to me? Because things happen to us for us to get lessons, for us to grow and become more like spirit, to become less judgmental, to come from a place of love. And if we're just dealing from it from emotion, we're going to miss that lesson. We also get the Empress card. And this card is about maternal energy a lot of times, but I also think in this case that this card is saying that this change in your life is actually going to bring a lot, it's going to be more fertile. And I'm not meaning you're having a baby. That is not what I'm saying. But that it's going to bring a new growth and fertility into who you are and allow you to grow as a human being and allow you to make some changes you've wanted to make some changes that you maybe didn't even know you wanted to take. Because next to that, we get the Page of Swords. Now, this card is, see, he's like, this card is warning you, not only is it under the King of Swords and next to the Empress, this card is saying there are things going on behind the scenes. Keep your mouth shut. Don't lose it. When whatever is happening this week happens, don't lose it. Just let it happen to you. And next to that, we get the Page of Cups. And that's why I think the Empress is about creativity, because this can be about a new love, but it can also be about maybe artistic things. So I think that maybe you are supposed to be looking at this from an artistic perspective and thinking, okay, well, you know, I always wanted to take that art class. This is the perfect time. And then as I was shuffling, 2 cards fell out. So I'm going to show them to you. The first card we get is the Fool. This card tells me that you are getting ready to start on a new journey. So this ending is going to lead to a beginning. And that's generally the way it happens. Remember in The Sound of Music where Maria said, God never shuts a door unless he opens a window? That's this. You've got this death, but you've got this newness. And the only warning is to be sure to not jump off the ledge into it. Go ahead and take your time. Think about it. Understand it. And finally, we got the Knight of Wands turned upside down. This tells me that your communication skills could be a little bit better. Maybe because you're coming at it from a place of emotion and not a place of knowledge, not a place of understanding or learning. So just stop, figure out, and when you communicate with people, for example, if you're a boss, you use the Oreo approach to things, which is compliment, complaint, nice complaint, compliment, so that you get 2 compliments for every 1 complaint. For example, you know, you do a really good job of keeping your desk clean. I am so impressed. I wish I could do that. Then the other one would be, but you're struggling with wasting your time in getting all your work done. So how can we fix that? And then finally, it would be, and I'm really appreciate the fact that you're willing to stay late to help me out sometimes, even though it's your fault. But you don't say that latter part, even though that's what you're thinking. So, you know, you see what I'm saying? So when you communicate, you also need to use I messages instead of saying, when you do that, it pisses me off. Not that any of us have ever said something like that, right? You say, I really get upset and feel devalued when you do this to me, when this happens. Not when you do this to me, I just cut myself. But when this happens, I feel devalued. How can we fix that? See the difference in the positive versus the negative? And that's really important. And I think that's why you're being told that you need to work on communications, those type of things. And finally, I'm going to pull a card from the Earth Magic Oracle deck. And the card we get is Solitude. What this card is saying, not go off and be a hermit. It's not saying that. This card is saying that you need to take some time and reflect on these things. And that goes back to the King of Wands, to look at it from here and not from down here, the visceral anger thing or the visceral emotional thing, when in reality, this is going to be a really great thing for you. Namaste, y'all. If you want to do a private reading, send me a text to 405-512-9400. And of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bye-bye.